How to play Death Ray, a card game of sinister competition, available from AmodifiedGames.com.
A new shop has opened, supplying evil geniuses with the resources capable of building unstoppable weapons. Blast away your competition by assembling the most powerful weapon, and become the last villain left to take over the world. Setting up the game.
To start off, I've separated the 52 items cards, the 30 target cards, and the 6 character combo cards. Each player chooses which character they want to play as, taking their respective character combo card. Additionally, each player takes one target card representing the other players in the game. For example, if I'm playing as Mr. Biggs, and my opponents are John Doe and Dr. Pons, I would take a John Doe and Dr. Pons target card, while John Doe would take a Mr. Biggs and Dr. Pons target card, and Dr. Pons would take a Mr. Biggs and John Doe target card. Next, each player is dealt 5 items cards from the top of the deck. Now that each character's hands are set up, let's set up the shop. Next, we remove the unused target cards and character combo cards from play, and place the remaining item cards in the center of the play space. This will act as the game's shop. Before we begin playing, we have to fill the shop's inventory by placing cards from the top of the shop, to the right of it, above it, and to the left of it. Below the shop will be the stockpile, which will be built throughout the game. Now we're ready to begin playing.
The game is split into 2 phases, the collection phase and the battle phase. During the collection phase, players may perform actions such as buying from the shop and stealing from opponents in order to collect items needed to build one of 6 weapons. These weapons are shown on the green character combo cards. Under each weapon, you will see several ways to build it. Creating that weapon requires you to complete any one of these combinations. Going through the combinations list, you will see the words power and type. These refer to the information on the item cards. The number on each item card is that item's power. The symbol next to the power is that item's type. Powers range from 1 to 13, and an item can either be of type electric, fire, ice, or chemical. It is important to think of the item's power as its value as well, as this will be important when buying items from the shop. Let's go over some of the combinations. One of the options for building a bubble cannon is having 5 even power. This means that all 5 cards in your hand are even numbers, such as 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Another option is having 5 blue cards or having 5 red cards. This refers to the color of the card, which is based on the type. Electric and fire type cards are red, while ice and chemical type items are blue. Other phrases used include equal power, which means that cards all show the same number, same type, which means that all cards show the same type, such as all fire or all ice, and sequential power, meaning the power of the items are in sequential order, such as 1, 2, 3, 4. Also, next to the weapon name, you will see a number. This represents that weapon's level. The level of your weapon will be compared to your opponent's in the battle phase. After each collection phase, there is a battle phase, in which players lay down the item cards required to build their chosen weapon, as well as a yellow target card representing the character they want to attack. If your weapon is of a higher level than the weapon of your target, you destroy them. The game ends when there's only one evil genius left standing. We'll get more in depth with the battle phase later. For now, let's cover the actions players may perform during the collection phase. Turn actions. Buying from inventory.
During any point within a player's turn, they may buy items from the shop's inventory. To do so, they must place items from their own hand whose power is greater than or equal to the item they wish to purchase into the shop's stockpile. For example, you could purchase cast steel, which has 7 power, with your oven, which also has 7 power, by placing it into the stockpile. Alternatively, you could purchase the flamethrower, which has 10 power, with your oven and glow sticks, which have 7 and 4 power, respectively. Although together your oven and glow sticks have 11 power, and the flamethrower only has 10 power, you receive no credit for the overdraw in power. However, if there was an item which price was 1 power in the inventory, you could purchase that as well. In addition to buying from the shop, players may perform any and all of the following actions once per turn.
Robbing the stock.
Players may take any number of cards from the top of the stockpile without exceeding their hand's 5-card limit. However, this action must be done first on your turn, even before purchasing items from the shop, and cannot be performed after any other action.
Blind buying.
Players may also place a card with a power of 6 or higher on top of the stockpile in order to purchase the face-down card from the top of the shop deck. Using your flashbang, you would be able to purchase the card from the top of the shop's deck. Because that cost 6 power, you still have 5 power left over with which to shop.
Hiring the shopkeeper to steal.
Players may also place 2 cards from their hand atop the stockpile to steal 1 card from a player's hand. The power of these cards does not matter, only that 2 are used. You could therefore use your oven and flashbang to steal 1 card from my hand. My hand will be concealed at the time, and you must choose the card at random.
Buying from the stockpile.
Players may also place 2 cards from their hand atop the stockpile to search through and take 1 card from the stockpile. Again, the power of these cards does not matter, only that 2 are used. By placing my oven and flashbang on top of the stockpile, I would be able to search through the stockpile for 1 card and add it to my hand without disrupting the order of the cards already in the stockpile.
Donating.
The last action players may perform on their turn is simple. Players may discard any number of cards from their hand on top of the stockpile. This can be used strategically to either block the next player from drawing specific cards on top of the stockpile, or reducing the number of cards in your hand for subsequent rounds in which you want to draw from the top of the stockpile yourself.
It is important that you remember these 6 actions, as each will come in handy throughout the game. Please remember that robbing the stockpile must be done at the beginning of your turn and cannot be performed after any other action. Also keep in mind that blind buying, hiring the shopkeeper to steal from opponents, buying from the stockpile, and donating can each only be done once per turn, while players may buy from the inventory as many times as they wish and at any point throughout their turn. Also, please note that if at any time the shop runs out of cards, the stockpile is immediately shuffled and placed face down in the center, filling the shop. Now let's look at what you can do with your current hand.
Because you already have 3 cards of 11 power in your hand, your best bet would be purchasing the dynamite from the shop, which would give you a black hole blaster, as it requires 4 cards of equal power. You could do so by using your oven and your glow sticks.
And just like that, you have a black hole blaster. Rotating the shop.
To signify the end of your turn, players rotate the shop clockwise. So this card goes into the stockpile, this card moves here, and cards are used from the top of the deck to replace these positions. It is now the next player's turn.
Turn order and phases. The game starts with the smartest player. This is up for the players to decide, and can be based on anything from IQ, test scores, or GPA. Play then passes clockwise. The game begins with the first collection phase, which lasts 1 round, meaning each player gets 1 turn. Each collection phase is followed by a battle phase. So when play reaches the first player again, players enter a battle phase. The second collection phase lasts 2 rounds, meaning each player gets 2 turns to build weapons, and then must engage in a battle phase. The third collection phase lasts 3 rounds, and is then, of course, followed by a battle phase. Every collection phase after the third lasts 3 rounds as well. Additionally, each collection phase begins with a new player, which also passes clockwise. So the first collection phase starts with the smartest player. The second starts with the person to their left, and so on. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Now let's move on to the battle phase. The battle phase. In the battle phase, all players lay down the item cards required to build their chosen weapon, leaving the other items in their hand. Along with these items, players lay down 1 yellow target card representing the player they want to attack. All players lay down these cards at the same time. Players should also put up the number of fingers representing the level of their weapon as a quick reference. If the level of a player's weapon is greater than the level of their target's weapon, their target is destroyed. This happens even if the attacking player is also being destroyed. For example, if Dr. Pons has a level 4 Mind Bomber and is attacking Mr. Biggs, who has a level 3 Weather Warper, and Mr. Biggs is attacking Baby Avery, who has a level 2 Bubble Cannon, Mr. Biggs would be destroyed by Dr. Pons, and Baby Avery would be destroyed by Mr. Biggs. If the power of a player's weapon is equal to or less than the level of the target's weapon, the targeted player is safe from the attack. At the end of the battle phase, players shuffle the items used to build their weapons into the stockpile. However, this all only applies if no player has built a level 6 Death Ray. Building a Death Ray instantly obliterates all of your opponents, making its wielder the victor. When laying down your cards to build the Death Ray, hold your fists in the air rather than 6 fingers and bask in your victory. Whether or not a Death Ray is played, the game ends when there is 1 evil genius left standing, as they now have a clear path to take over the world. Review. That was quite a lot of information, so let's quickly run through the game. Players are dealt 5 cards from the top of the item's deck. Remember, 5 cards is the hand limit. The remaining items are placed in the center to create the shop, and the shop's inventory is filled. The smartest player goes first. On their turn, they can perform any or all of the 6 actions. They must then rotate the shop. It is then the next player's turn to perform any or all of the 6 actions and finally rotate the shop, passing it to the next player. When play reaches a player who went first, everyone engages in a battle phase, where all players lay down the items required to build their weapons, along with a card representing their target at the same time. At the end of the battle, all items used to build weapons are shuffled into the stockpile. Players still standing then enter the second collection phase, which begins with the player to the left of the smartest player. This collection phase lasts 2 rounds, meaning everyone gets 2 turns to build weapons, and then engages in battle. The third collection phase begins with the next player to the left, and lasts 3 rounds, as does every subsequent collection phase. The game finally ends when there's 1 player left standing after a battle phase. Extended Play, Health Mode. Death Ray also has an extended play version which involves the use of health points. All rules are the same for this version, other than a few changes to the battle phase. In Health Mode, targeting players with less powerful weapons results in damage, or reduction of health points, rather than automatic death. The damage dealt by attacks is the difference between the level of the attacking player's weapon and the level of their target's weapon. For example, if Mr. Biggs is attacking Baby Avery with a level 3 Weather Warper, and Baby Avery has a level 2 Bubble Cannon, Baby Avery would lose 1 health point. Health points cards are packaged with the game and can be used to keep track of your health. Simply cover the hearts equal to the health points you have lost on your health points card with your character combo card. When players reach 0 health points, they are obliterated and are out of the game. However, creating a death ray still results in the death of all your opponents and an automatic victory. Health mode is the best way to play Death Ray with 2 players. However, it can be used with any number of players to extend the fun of the game. Now, you're all set up to play Death Ray. I hope you enjoy destroying your villainous rivals. For a complete copy of the written rules, or if you have any questions, or if you're just curious about the other unique and exciting experiences created by Modify Games, visit amodifygames.com. Thanks for playing.